Hi, Cary.
Hey, Tia.
Welcome to Arrive at Happy Leaders. I am so excited for my audience, but also just personally to learn from you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really, it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I know we're going to dive into some juicy, awesome stuff. Before that, you have a new book, The Happy Hustle, which everyone listening needs to get or listen to if you want the audiobook that's coming out too. Can you tell a little bit about how you came to be doing what you are doing? What happened in your life to bring you to this point where you are helping and motivating so many people?
Yeah, really, it stemmed from my own adversity, much like many others listening, I'm sure. You know, adversity strikes and you can respond to it in one of two ways. You can overcome or you could succumb, right? And for
Right.
me, I've always been an entrepreneur. I grew up half in Red Lodge, Montana, playing cowboy, camping, fishing, hunting, hiking, and then half in Sarasota, Florida, surfing and skating. So I've always had the balance of these two beautiful locations. And it wasn't until I was out of balance, both in my personal life and my professional life, that I realized the true importance of having balance. And fast forward, my childhood wasn't the easiest. Everyone has a story, but I mean, it was filled with a pretty gut wrenching divorce and emotional, physical, and mental abuse, and a lot of suicide threats from my inner circle. And I moved 18 times before the age of 20, and it wasn't the easiest.
Mhm.
I went down the wrong path. I was up to no good. I won't elaborate too much, but let's just say it landed me behind bars. Then I completely made a 180. I was like, I'm going to use my powers of hustling for good and start happy hustling eventually. But at this point in my life, I've always been an entrepreneur, and
Mhm.
I've always been hungry to lead others in a way that, is a positive example of what's possible.
Mhm.
So I actually had a tech startup in New York City. I know now if you see me, I look more like a hairy caveman, but I did wear the suit and tie, and I was, doing the thing like my
I
brother,
can't
my
believe
business
you wore
partner.
the suit and tie.
I know, me either. There is photo evidence though, so I'm not making it up. We were getting after it, Tia. We were hustling, 100+ hour weeks, and we were really like hungry for profit and success and title and status and ego and all the things that our society, says is
Right.
important.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we actually landed the seven-figure VC funding deal, we landed partnerships with Microsoft and IBM. It wasn't until we got those things that we realized how completely unfulfilled and unhappy we truly were. And, it came to a head when we were at our, dump of apartment in Queens, New York. We were sharing a king size bed, my brother and I, and we just cried over our, stained coffee table, like these tears of just pure exhaustion, but also we were just so burnt out. And I think a lot of your audience can probably resonate with just this ever growing burnout culture. And for us, we knew we had to change our ways. We had to make a pivot. So we said no to the funding deal. We said no to the partnerships. We folded the company. 18 months of really hard work, and I moved to Bangkok, Thailand, for 10 months. And my brother got his master's degree from the University of Florida, and we kind of split, ways. And it was in Thailand that I figured out a better way to work and live. A way to make money and an impact in alignment with like my soul's calling, and a way to really put the happy in my hustle. And that was where the happy hustle was born.
We have so much in common. You were talking about your childhood. I was like, yes, yeah. There were so many things. I'm like, oh, me too, me too.
Yeah.
So one thing, and I know we're gonna dive into your soul mapping framework, which I can't wait. One thing you said is, I knew I was out of balance.
Mm.
So can you explain how, when someone knows they're out of balance, what are a couple things they can start to do to get back in balance? Because so many people I talk to feel exactly this way, that they're out of balance.
Mm.
What would you say if you know you're there?
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
can you start the walk towards balance?
yeah. Well, here's the first step in any change, and it's awareness, right? And you have to first become aware of the problem. Imbalance can show up in a multitude of ways: stress, anxiety, overwhelm, unfulfillment. You can feel angst, despair. It's like you're on this hamster wheel and you just can't get off. You're just
Mhm.
out of balance, out of alignment. And for me, the soul mapping framework was the remedy for my own problem of being imbalanced, because I broke my life down into these 10 different areas. And initially I didn't call it the soul mapping framework. It didn't evolve into this framework until much later, when others who were witnessing my transformation asked, how did you become this lifestyle entrepreneur who, runs 3 successful companies and, works to live, but definitely doesn't live to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was snowboarding yesterday. I'm fly fishing today. I work less than 20 hours a week, typically, Tia. I'll be straight up with you.
Love it. Love it. I'm at about 25 right now. So that's
There you
awesome.
go. Yeah. So, and I'll just tell you, there's a way to, have your cake and eat it too. And it was these 10 alignments for me and many of the happy hustlers that now are a part of my community, and who that practice, this framework have made this transition from imbalance to blissfully balanced.
Yeah. Okay, let's dive in. Let's dive
Yeah.
in. So everyone listening, pull over and get out your note on your phone, or make sure you have a notepad, because there's going to be a lot of gems right here.
Yeah.
So tell me the soul mapping framework.
Yeah. So here's one little caveat. I get the most out of podcasts when I'm an active participant, not just a passive listener. And, I really do highly suggest taking notes and actually going through the exercises. And Tia, if you're feeling brave, I'm going to put you on the spot and we're going to actually assess where you're at in these 10 different alignments. Okay.
I'm feeling brave.
Okay. So I wasn't much for school. However, I do know the grading scale. So a 5 would be an A. Okay. And a 1 is an F. 2 obviously would be a D, 3 C, 4, B. So as I go through these different 10 alignments, I want you to actually rank yourself in each. Okay. And S is the first one. It stands for selfless service. Are you living for yourself and your own personal gain, or are you giving back to others? Right? Are you, volunteering your time, your money, your expertise, or maybe not so much? Rank where you're at and just think in the past week, where you're at in this alignment. If you want to extend it to the past 30 days, that's okay too. It's really important to just be honest with yourself here. Okay. So rank 1 to 5 where you're at in S, selfless service. O stands for optimized health, right? You can't happy hustle in any capacity. You can't be a happy leader in any capacity if you don't have optimal health, both mentally, physically, and emotionally, right? And for this one, rank where you're at, be honest. Are you putting in work? Are you getting after it in the gym and, like pushing yourself? Maybe you're a 5, maybe you're crushing it, maybe you're just stuffing your pie hole with garbage, crap foods and all sorts of things that don't serve you,
In your mind, right? The way you said, the mental piece is just as important too. If you're watching the news every day, if you're
Yep.
what you're putting into your mind also. Okay.
Exactly. So that's O, optimize health. U stands for unplugged digitally. And we both are running online businesses. We're connected to tech. We utilize tech. But here's the thing. Are you addicted to your devices? Are you constantly
this is so hard for
plugged
people.
in? Yeah. This is a huge one where if you're not mitigating your exposures to these devices, to your streaming shows, to, podcasts and YouTube channels and disconnecting to reconnect to your true self, let me tell you, I just got off a 7-day dopamine detox. This was transformative for me. No social media, no YouTube, no streaming shows, no movies. I gave myself an hour of podcast / music per day, just because that's part of my work. I still work, but I made more money in the last 7 days and was more productive than I've been in so long, Tia. And
so for everyone, I feel like people, okay, for these 7 days, you did no social media, right?
Yeah. No social media, no TV, no movies, no streaming shows, no YouTube. And I limit, you could even do no music or no podcast if you're feeling real froggy, but
Yeah.
I just did it because I know, like, when I go on, a show, a podcast interview like this one, I want to do some research ahead of time and listen to it.
Right.
So, that's kind of,
That's kind
it was
of,
part of my work, but that's
but
just
I would
like
say
for
even for
unplugged digitally.
listeners, even if it's every Sunday, you do no dopamine,
Yep. Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
can't do the whole 7 days. So good.
Yeah.
Unplugged digital. Okay. What's next?
Yeah. So rank where you're at in that one.
Yeah.
And, and I find, even just to your point, a little action items here, 60 minutes in the morning when you wake up and 60 minutes before bed, put your phone on airplane mode. Don't touch it. Okay. Even if you just implement that, you'll start to see a difference in your happiness and overall just your mental well-being. Okay. So L stands for loving relationships, right? Again, what's it all for if you don't have love in your life? And think about, yes, your intimate relationship with your partner, but also your family and your friends, and how you're showing up for them. Is there plentiful pleasure with your partner, or is it some angst and stress and struggle and strife? Rank where you're at in L, loving relationships. Okay, so that's the soul part. You should now have 4 scores. Tia, do you want to kind of, break in here and share your 4 scores?
Yes. Yes. So the first one actually on the service. So with my work, I try, I'm helping people with Arrive and Happy, but I definitely think that I could do so much more. So on this, I actually gave myself a 2. And this, being totally honest, I think I could do a lot more there.
Yep.
Health, I'm feeling pretty good. So I actually rate myself a 4, thinking of mental, physical, emotional. This is a huge part of my happiness. So I think that just kind of connects to my values. Unplugged digital, I gave myself a 3. And I think it's like day of week, because we'll go skiing and I'm totally unplugged, go with the kids. And I don't, I spend hours and hours in the mountains and just, but during the week, I think there's a huge room, that Monday through Thursday.
Yep.
Definitely there. And loving relationships, I wrote down my husband's name, my 2 daughters' names, and then family and friends. And reflecting over the last month or so, as I just launched a book, work has definitely, I've been hustling. I've been hustling, but I've been hustling.
Yeah.
So I gave myself a 3 in that I can put more intention and time. Not that it's been bad, but it's like, no, I think I could definitely do that. There could be more intention there.
For sure. And here's the thing. I want, everyone listening who's actively participating to give yourself grace here. This is our baseline. And as Tia, myself, like, we're driven, type A, like, oftentimes we're hard on ourselves. And that's why we oftentimes are successful. However, give yourselves grace with this. Okay. Now we're going to dive into the mapping part. So the M stands for mindful spirituality. Okay. Are you connecting to a higher power? Are you, practicing breath work and meditation and prayer, or, not so much? For me, it's more important that you just believe, that you have faith in something bigger than yourself. I don't necessarily care, what one God or another. It's just having faith. So rank where you're at in mindful spirituality, 1 to 5. Okay. A stands for abundance financially. All right. Are you check the paycheck, in fear of your finances? Or do you have a system that, saves and invests and spends wisely, and, that you can do what you want with who you want as much as you want? Rank where you're at in abundance financially. Again, being honest with yourself. The first P stands for personal development. Okay. Are you growing and evolving, or are you shrinking and dissolving? And those are the 2 options, mind you. Like, there's no in between. You're either growing every day and you're reading. For me, I have a 90-minute system of personal growth that I implement every day. 30 minutes of reading every morning, 30 minutes of listening every afternoon, and 30 minutes of watching, all something educational or inspirational. And, obviously when I was on my dopamine detox, I wasn't watching anything, but I will just tell you that keeps me growing every single day. And if you want to be a happy leader and crush it in both your business and your personal life, read stuff that has to do with the goals that you're striving for right now, and absorb that kind of content, like this podcast. The second P Passionate hobbies. And this is one of my favorites, but I will tell you, this is one that I see the majority of driven entrepreneurs and busy professionals and leaders lacking,
Mhm.
because they're
Agree.
busy doing, things for other people, but they don't take care of themselves. And, passionate hobbies means having fun, like actually getting out there and doing things that, infuse that childlike wonder back into your life. And for me, I'll just tell you, I love martial arts. I'm striving to get my black belt with my fiance. I go horseback riding, I go fly fishing, I go snowboarding, I play soccer every week. Like I have stuff
Yeah.
that is always on my calendar it fills me with joy. So rank where you're at in passionate hobbies. Okay. I stands for impactful work, right? This is, are you actually doing something that's meaningful? And, there's some buzzwords out there. I associate these greatly with the happy hustle. However, I define them actually, and for me, it's, are you actually infusing your passion, which is, that inward facing calling, with your purpose, which
Mhm.
is that outward serving mission to actually make a positive impact, because if you're
Mhm.
not, like, first of all, if you're not solving a problem that you feel really passionate about, well, you're not going to be excited to do the work.
Right.
If you're not solving that problem for someone you actually care about serving, well, then again, you're not going to be very passionate about the work. And then
Right.
if it's not making a positive impact, then what the heck are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing it for? So that's impactful work. Rank where you're at in I. And then N stands for nature connection. Okay. This means, are you actually getting outside? Are you tapping into our beautiful planet and its resources and enjoying it? And oh, by the way, are you protecting it? Like, are you actually being a conscious consumer? Are you supporting B corporations and companies with sustainable supply chains? And, this is very much a part of nature connection, is protecting Mother Earth. And, for me, I actually have another company with my brother now called Eco Breakthroughs that's fighting the plastic pollution epidemic. And I'm big into that field and using business as a force for good. And I think we all have a choice to now be a part of the solution or a part of the problem. So, and
Yep.
nature connection, you choose your ranking in this score. So you should now have 10 scores. Tia, let's hear what you got for the mapping part.
Okay. For the mapping, mindful spirituality, a 4, maybe a 4. I mean, definitely I feel, yeah, connected there. I'm a huge proponent of meditation.
Awesome.
Um, for abundance financially, for earning, saving, investing. And I look at this as partnership with myself and my husband. I would
Mm-hmm.
actually rate us a 5 right now. Especially over the life of
Awesome.
the last 5 years and the
Yeah.
life that we're designing,
Yeah.
that's feeling strong. Personal development, also, I rate myself a 5 here. I kind of
Yep.
have an
Yep.
addiction to learning and growing, maybe even too much, but
Yeah.
that one, I would say, yeah, I mean, I devour books, podcasts, I devour, not so much watching, but I would say podcasts and books and TED
Mm,
Talks. I like crazy consume TED Talks.
mm,
Passion hobbies, I gave myself a 2. I do a lot of
mm.
exercise. I ski and snowboard. We got to go snowboarding one day.
Oh yeah.
But I've been reflecting a lot that I want to find a guitar lesson. I want to find a teacher. And
Yeah.
that's a hobby. I've been thinking about it for years, and I'm
There you
gonna
go.
start that this year. And
There
then
you
for
go.
impactful work, for Arrive at Happy, I gave a 5. In the old, when I was working in hotels, I wouldn't have rated myself this high, but with my company, definitely a 5. And then for nature connection, I did a 3. And I spend a lot, but as you were talking, I was like, no, there's room for improvement there. So that's where I am
Mm,
on that one.
yeah. Well, and here's the thing, there's always room for improvement, because you have to define your version of a 5. What does
Right.
success look like for you in each of these
In
different
each
alignments?
area. Yeah. And just
Yeah.
answering that question, journaling on that for each
Yeah.
person listening.
Yeah. And I want to give all the listeners the most important happy hustle principle right now. You must focus on each of these different alignments, but one at a time. Okay.
Good
See, what
point.
most people do is they're at work and then they're thinking about their family. And when they're with their family, they're thinking about work, and they don't do either effectively. But you must
Present.
focus and give equal importance. I'm going to take it a step further, equal importance for each of these different alignments, but one at a time. So for instance, this interview with Tia is getting 100% Cary Jack focus. As soon as I leave and I go, to the hot springs where I'm going to soak and hit my workout, I'm 100% there. I'm not scrolling, I'm in it to win it. And, that means your date night, with your lover gets the same importance level as your own time with yourself, snowboarding or skiing or whatever your hobby is, right? So you're giving equal importance to these different areas is a key component of focusing on one at a time. That's a happiness principle.
And you're talking about presence, and the word that's coming up is also just single tasking, doing one. Like you said, if you're out on a date, don't be scrolling. If you're in your work, don't be thinking about family. Is be present and do, single task versus trying to do everything at the same time. This is an amazing framework. I cannot wait for my whole community to hear it. So if people want to, need to buy your book, learn more about you. I know you also do incredible retreats that connect on all of these. Where can people find you, follow you, and learn more?
So first, one last piece to the puzzle. This assessment that we just went through, this is something I do every Sunday. Okay. This isn't a one and done type thing. This is constant, right? Because balance is not this finite destination. It's a ever, flowing journey. And so it requires constant tweaks, adjustments, and pivots. So, I actually have a whiteboard fridge
every Sunday.
Yes, every Sunday. And you just look at, hey, where was I last week? Okay, where am I going to prioritize change this week? Right. And that just keeps you in that balanced state. Right. So, in terms of the retreats, I host these Montana Mastermind epic camping adventures where I take high performers and, elite entrepreneurs all making over six figures and who passed the beer test, meaning I actually want to have a beer with you in order for you to come. It's a very important test. I take them in the backcountry wilderness for 5 days and we do a business mastermind, but we learn primitive survival skills, fly fishing. We, do breath work and meditation, primal workouts. It's super fun. T, I hope you come to one.
I would
in
love
the future. So that's it. And by the way, we're disconnected completely. No tech, no service. We're 10 miles deep in the wilderness. It's a really hell of a good time mixing business with pleasure. Right. In terms of the book, if you guys want to get a copy, we're doing a promo right now for the first 1,000 copies. We're giving it away for free. So if you want to get the hookup, you just go to thehappyhustlebook.com and there you'll see it's just shipping and handling. You guys pay for that. And it goes right to your doorstep, but the book is on us. I'm just trying to spread the message as much as possible. I've seen the transformation in my own life and with the happy hustlers that actually have implemented it. So the goal is to spread the message as much as possible. And it comes with a happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for whatever reason, just tell my team and we'll send you even your shipping and handling back.
I'm sure that never happened.
Burn the book. Okay.
So
thehappyhustlebook.com.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I would highly recommend checking out Tia's interview on my podcast, the Happy Hustle Podcast, because she crushed it, rocked the mic. It was an awesome interview. So that's another good place to just
your podcast is fantastic. Oh my goodness. Well, you're definitely going to come back to this show. Thank you so much. I can't wait to share this with my husband and community and friends. So have a great time soaking and exercising later today. And thanks for the positive impact you're making on the world.
Thank you, Tia, so much for having me. I appreciate each and every one of you listening as well. Peace and love, everyone.